9 men have been convicted of exploiting vulnerable young girls and trafficking them for sex. The offences took place in Rochdale over a 2-year period. The men groomed girls as young as 13, plying them with drink and drugs before passing them around to be raped and physically assaulted.
The 9 members of a paedophile gang convicted of sexually exploiting teenage girls have each been given prison sentences of up to 19 years at Liverpool Crown Court. But the lawyer for one of the men, who were all Asian, has promised to lodge an appeal because details of the jury's verdicts were leaked to the BNP's Nick Griffin before they'd finished their deliberations. Our social affairs editor Jackie Long reports from Liverpool.
A small but vocal crowd, a pretty blunt message. Supporters from the right-wing British National Party were back outside court today. Their view, that this trial is as much about race as child abuse. The 9 men, guilty of a range of offences from rape to conspiracy and trafficking, were jailed for a total of 77 years. On the streets of Rochdale and Oldham, they'd befriended the girls before forcing them to have sex and passing them on to scores of men. In his summing up today, the judge insisted this trial had nothing to do with race, a suggestion he said that was just so much nonsense. But almost immediately after the case ended, serious questions were being raised about the impartiality of the jury. At the heart of the issue, this tweet from the leader of the British National Party, Nick Griffin, posted last Thursday while the jury were locked away deliberating on the case.
Newsflash, 7 of the Muslim paedophile rapists found guilty in Liverpool.
It turned out to be totally accurate, and one of the defendant's solicitors says it will form a major part of their plan to appeal the verdicts.
It is of great concern that the chairman of the British National Party appeared to have been aware of the verdicts before they were even communicated to the court. We are left with no option but to conclude that the confidentiality of the jury's deliberations must have been breached, and we submit the proper inference to be drawn is that there must have been improper communication from within the jury room to Nick Griffin and perhaps others.
But the judge did make it quite clear that he did not believe the jury had been interfered with in any way or that this trial was in any way biased.
He did. That's his view on it, and like I said, we'll see what take the Court of Appeal have on that.
So where did Nick Griffin get his information from?
Well, I heard from 3 different people who were demonstrating outside the court, and each of them said that someone had come out from in the court who was either a police official or a court official and had told them that that was the position and there had now been some verdicts. Obviously it was wrong, and the question that interests me, and I think may possibly interest the police, is who it was who passed in that wrong information and why.
So not a juror, is that what you're saying?
I'm absolutely sure it wasn't a juror, not least because at that stage the jury were locked away. The system is such they're not allowed out, and I'm sure also that no juror would do such a thing.
Greater Manchester Police and the Crown Prosecution Service said they were aware of questions being raised about the trial and were looking into whether any offences had been committed. Meanwhile, the 9 men at the heart of this case begin their jail sentences tonight.
Well, we're joined from Leeds now by Elias Yousaf, the solicitor for one of the men sentenced today, Adil Khan. You said in Jackie's piece there that the judge was entitled to his view that this was a fair trial, but what evidence do you have to the contrary?
We don't have any evidence to the contrary, but we have some facts. One of those facts is that at around 2 o'clock on Thursday afternoon, there appeared a tweet by Nick Griffin confirming that 7 defendants had been found guilty.
But if you have no evidence, if you have no evidence, why are you appealing?
We are going to, or certainly I will be writing to the Attorney General and the Chief Constable of Merseyside Police, asking that there be an immediate investigation as to how it is that the deliberations in the jury room appeared on a number of far-right websites. I'm hoping that investigation will bring to light some evidence which will form the central plank of the appeal which we will lodge.
Nick Griffin says, though, that the information came from a court official, not a juror.
Yes, that's interesting that Nick Griffin should say the information came from a court official. He tweeted that particular tweet at 7 minutes to 2 in the afternoon, which suggests, from his version of events, A court official must have come out at around 1:30, maybe even earlier, and informed people outside of the courtroom that 7 defendants had been found guilty. I don't see how that could have happened, bearing in mind all of those in the courtroom when they were informed by the prosecutor at 2:15 in the afternoon that she had been alerted by the police that Nick Griffin had tweeted something, and it then became an issue inside the courtroom, and it wasn't until 4:30 that the jury were asked the question as to how many defendants verdicts had been reached on, and they confirmed it was 7.
Are you hoping that Nick Griffin would be tried for contempt then?
No, certainly not. But I would like to know, and I'm sure there's other people that would like to know, how he came about that information at 1:50 whilst the jury was still deliberating that verdict in the jury room. Clearly the jury room has somehow been breached. We don't know whether it was a juror that has contacted somebody or whether it's a member of court staff, but certainly we need to get to the bottom of it.
How do you think your client's 13-year-old victim with whom he fathered a child, how do you think she'll be feeling about hearing you complaining about the judicial process in this way?
Well, it's not really a complaint about the judicial process. My client has been sentenced to a lengthy period of imprisonment. It's only fair that if he is going to be serving that lengthy period of imprisonment, he has a fair trial. And that's all I'm asking for on behalf of my client, and that's all my client wants, a fair trial.
Elias Yousaf, thank you for joining us.